What's up, everybody? Welcome to Human Innovation Tarot. My name is Eddie with the Imagine Life Development Center. And today I'm going to be doing the March newsletter. If you're new to my channel, I would greatly appreciate it if you would click the like button and the subscribe button. If you find this content useful or beneficial or helpful, all the other information you need to know is in the description box below. So here we are officially in March. Happy birthday to all the Pisces out there, by the way. Kind of crazy how how fast everything's going by already. It seems like just a blur. And I know we say that all of the time, but I really do feel like time just does go by so much faster. And I don't know if that's just like a psychological thing, or if maybe there is something to it. Maybe we are actually. I mean, maybe time really is going faster than we think. But so what I'm going to talk about today, there's a few things that I want to talk to you guys about. The first thing I'm going to do is some review. So we're just going to quickly go back over everything January, February really quick, and then we'll talk about March. And so my idea, or not my idea, but the idea behind doing these quote unquote newsletters is essentially what I'm doing is I'm getting guidance offline. I'm getting channel messages from the divine offline. It's like, hey, what do you want to talk to the people about? Like what's the most important thing for people to know or to be thinking about? So, or the most beneficial thing. Like, what do you want them to know about? So that they can get, they can head in the direction that's going to serve them in their highest good, obviously. And so that they can get the things that they want out of life. Because that's what we all want, right? We all want fulfillment. We all want to get something. We're after something in life. And so these newsletters is that. It's about that. Okay. This isn't me just talking about some random shit that I find interesting. These newsletters are here to bring you guys additional information directly from the higher power source. And just because you don't see cards in my hands, you don't see me doing a reading right this second, doesn't mean that the information that comes through is any less important. And actually, in this case, there will be. As you can see, there are some cards over here on the table. All right. So don't think that just because you don't see cards in my hands right now, that there isn't something that the divine doesn't want to communicate. So enough of that. So we're in a universal year number 9. And if you guys don't know what that is, if you're new to my channel, you haven't heard me talk about it, you guys really, really need to know what that means, especially this year. Because this year is going to be very, very different than any other year before. And I know, like, well, duh, Eddie, like, isn't that every year? Well, technically, yes, but there are also cycles, energetic cycles, when things occur that are milestones. We see milestone years in history. We see milestone years all throughout, different cycles and different periods. And that's how we even categorize history, right? You have this period, and then you have that period, and you have that age, and you have that era. And so that's kind of what's happening right now. Like we're in a very, very pivotal moment of time. Okay. Just to put it lightly. Now, the most important videos that I have uploaded on my channel that discuss this are, you can go to my videos and scroll down. You'll see the Universal Year 9 Part 1 and the Universal Year 9 Part 2. Those two videos will continue to be the most important videos that I have uploaded on my channel until about June or July, because it explains everything that we need to get. It's the foundation of everything that we need to know about this year as we move forward through the year. And the minute that we start to lose sight of that and we start to forget about, oh shit, yeah, it's, this year is like a kind of a make it or break it, because there's going to be two groups of people, right? This year is either going to potentially be one of the best years of your life, like 20, 30, 50 years down the road. You'll be looking back at 2025 And if you're in the group of, you know, the people that were in correct alignment, you'll look back and say, man, 2025 was like one of the best years of my entire life. Now, for the other groups of people that are not in alignment, then this could potentially be one of the worst years of your life. Like when I say, and I mean, and I do mean like the worst year of your entire life. You'll look back 20, 30, 50 years down the road, you'll be looking back and going, man, 2025 was the absolute worst year of my entire life. So this year is not something to take lightly. It's not something to be trifled with. And that's not to be like a doomsday or apocalyptic thing. I don't think that it's going to be, I don't, this isn't, the energy isn't so much about what's going to happen, worldwide. I mean, that stuff is always going on. I mean, with the exception of 2020, right? 2020 was kind of a big one. We had other moments and other years where there was a major worldwide situation. So this year, I don't predict is going to be any. It's not going to be like that. It's not going to be like a 2020 repeat or something. I mean, there's just going to be the normal stuff, the politics, all the typical shit that goes on in the world, natural disasters, stuff that happens every year. But the energy that's going to be affecting us is going to be on more of an individualistic level. So when I say it's going to be one of the best years of your life or one of the worst years of your life, I'm talking about you as an individual. That's how we're being dealt with in this energy. Okay. We're all being dealt with on an individual basis because the 9 universal year, or just the number 9 in itself, is about endings, right? It's everything reaching its end. We reach the end of a cycle. And so at the end of a cycle, just like at the end of, like I remember all the way back when I was like in first and second and third grade in elementary school, at the end of the year, they would make you take these terrible tests. I mean, I guess they technically still do them, I guess, in high school and college. You have exams, right? But in elementary school, it was called something else. It was like a started with a C. And all I remember is it was like on this green paper, and it was like 100 multiple choice questions, like 100 of them. And you had to just go through, and you would take you like 5 hours. You just sitting there with your pencil, and you're like having to like multiple question, you know, fill in your little dots. And that was your I guess technically your exam at the end of the year. I forget what that thing was called, but it doesn't matter. But it's a similar idea. So at the end of the 9-year cycle, we're all kind of being called, you know, to account for, what did you learn the last 9 years? Who have you become? What did you do? What did you figure out? Right? Integration of the lessons that you've learned and who you've become, and looking back and going, okay, well, what doesn't work for me anymore? I need to leave behind the things that are old, they're outdated, they're no good for me. A recognition, conscious awareness of toxic things that are, that aren't serving me well, all of that stuff. A level of spiritual awareness based on 9 years worth of growth, and being able to look back over the last 9 years and be able to account for it. Hence the analogy of an exam. What can you remember over the entirety of a school year, or the entirety of a semester? How much did you retain? Well, you're going to find out when they give you the exam, right? And so that's kind of what we're being asked to do here. We're being asked to account for what have we learned in the last 9 years? Because as we move into 2026, 2026 is going to be the beginning of something that it's going to be the change. It's going to be a historical moment of change forever. From 2026 moving on, humanity as we know it will never be the same. And the things that are going to change from there to like 2030, and then from 2030 to 2050, I predict that humanity will be almost unrecognizable from what we know today. Like the amount of what's going to happen, the collapsing of time, technology. I mean, assuming that we don't, we're playing nicely and we get along and some idiot doesn't press the button and blow us all up, right? Or that we don't get some, crazy asteroid or the sun blows up or, anything that can happen. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think that we're going to continue move forward. But my point is this is kind of the last of the known, the last year of the of humanity as we've known it, and that's why we're all going to be kind of like, this is your senior year of college. This is it. This is your last exam. So and after this, that's it. So it's an important one because it's the last one in this regard. That's the best way I know to explain it. So that's kind of the overarching theme, is for us preparing for the future while also us addressing and dealing with the things that are going on in our own personal lives as we move forward in our own unique directions towards the things that would fulfill us, our desires, our passion, but more importantly, our purpose in life. That's what the divine is really wanting us to understand. It's like anything that's getting in the way of you answering the call and the mission and the purpose and destiny of your life, you need to account for that, right? And it's going to go one of two ways now, because there's only two non-negotiables that the divine has with any of us. It's never going to violate your free will, and it's never going to give anything that's not in your highest good. So if you want to use your free will and say, well, I don't want to be on my path, I want to go over here, I want to stay with this toxic person, I want to stay in this toxic job, I want to do this toxic this, I want to do this toxic that, or whatever you want to do with your life, the divine's like, cool, no problem, you can do whatever you want with your life. But there's going to be a consequence. And it's not the divine punishing you for it. It's just there's going to be a consequence under this energy for doing things that aren't in your highest good, because that's the energy that comes with being in a 9 universal year. It's like seasons. There's things that you don't do in winter that you can do in summer and spring. There's things that you do in summer and spring that you don't do in winter. It's just the wrong time. It's the wrong time to do it. It's the wrong timing. It's the same thing in this energy. There's a time to sow. There's a time to reap. So this is the time to clean up, clean house, let go of things that no longer serve us, to understand, to integrate the lessons of everything we've learned in the last 9 years, so that we can get ready, we can prepare for stepping into a new 9-year cycle, which is going to be, again, it's a milestone. It's literally turning the pages of history. So anyways, there's that going on. All right. So now January is, we're going to start. So that's the global concept. Now, January was essentially the bleed out energy of 2024. So yes, our calendars start 2025 on January 1, but energetically it did not. Energetically, January was really just 2024's December. So January was just the last dying out remnants of 2024. And then this month of February, I'm recording this on the 28th, so this is the very last day of February. All of this past month has been the transition or the cusp energy. So the energy of 2024 came to its end, and the very, very beginning, the birth of 2025's energy began. And now that we're moving into March officially, this is essentially what would be considered like New Year's. So 2025 would basically be, in my opinion, March would be like the real New Year's. We celebrate New Year's on January 1, but technically March is essentially, in my opinion, the New Year's. Now, if you want to go further back, it was April. April was, and that's why Aries is in April, and that's why that's the first house in the zodiac, because they considered Aries, they considered that to basically be the New Year's. So whatever, we can have different opinions about this. Splitting hairs over nothing. So regardless, we are officially now entering the energy of 2025. So March is going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be very different than February and January because now we're actually in the energy of 2025. Like we're actually going to start to get a taste now of what we're getting into this year. So, you know, depending on what's happened for you guys in the last 2 months, like well, things have kind of been about the same, or what I expected. It's just kind of typical January, February, right? Well, it seems that way. Well, now that we're getting into March, March is going to start, you know, mixing it up. And you're like, wait, all of a sudden, like, January and February were just kind of like as expected, and then out of nowhere, March just kind of comes in and just f's everything up. And that's not to say that March is going to be this terrible, godforsaken month or something. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I am saying though is that there is going to be a black and white difference. It's going to be a polar opposite type of energy. So, if all of a sudden during March you start to realize that, holy shit, all kinds of crazy stuff starting to happen, all kinds of changes, all like it just seems like, everything's just picking up and all these changes or new activities, whatever the things are happening, whether they're positive or negative or both, whatever, that's because you're now finally in the 2025 energy. We're actually feeling it. So from March all the way out until the end of the year, basically. So now we're finally getting a taste of what's to come. All right. So yeah, that's the review. So I have two. I've consolidated this down to two things that I wanted to share with you guys. One is a message, channel message, and then I asked the divine when I sat down and said, "Okay, I know you want to talk to them about the thing that one of the things that came to my mind." And so, but then I grabbed my deck and I said, "Is there anything else that you want to tell them?" And so, and then I have the what's over here on the table. So, and I'm going to get to that in just a second. So, right. So last month, in last month's newsletter, I talked about spiritual alchemy and I talked about decision making. And there's a reason that I'm going to do these newsletters like this, because essentially what the divine is doing is the divine is giving us a checklist of things that we need to do this year to ensure that we end up where we need to go, that we avoid any types of negative or unfortunate situations, circumstances, that we get the best outcomes possible. It's just a checklist. That's it. All we have to do is just follow the checklist, follow the guidance of the divine. Again, that's why I'm giving these newsletters. It's just asking, like, hey, give us the cheat sheet, right? Well, you get the cheat sheet. You came here and we get the cheat sheet. All we have to do is just follow and listen to the advice. That's it, right? To the best of our ability. Just listen to the advice, follow the advice, and the divine has given us a cheat code, the cheat system, the cheat sheet. So the advice last month was about spiritual alchemy, that we all need to learn how to turn the painful things that occur in our lives into a superpower. I call it finding the treasure in the pile of shit. But really what it is turning anything that's happened to you, any trauma, any betrayal, any loss, anything that's hurt you in your life, anything that's had a great, profound, long-lasting negative impact on your life, learning how to take that, whether it's old, whether it's something recent, or whether it's something that happens to you, because this is a tool that we all need to have, that we need to integrate as part of our being. Meaning future things that happen to us that are painful, future losses, future betrayals, future unforeseen events, whether it's losing a job or getting sick or bouncing back or losing a loved one, losing a pet, losing money, like whatever it is, whatever life throws at you, we need to be able to find our power in moments of despair. Find our power in moments of loss, in betrayal. Find our power in the things that deeply wound us and hurt us. Right? That's what alchemy is. Alchemy is transforming something from one state into something better, something more empowering. That's why it's called, the metaphor of turning lead into gold. Or my metaphor is turning, shit into a treasure. It's the same thing, right? The lead or the shit, that's the stuff that we didn't want. That's the stuff that hurt us. That's the stuff that wasn't valuable to us. The gold and the treasure, that is the stuff. It's up to us to learn how to alchemize those things, to transform those things into that. So I talked about that in the February newsletter. The second thing I talked about is the power of making a decision. Like, we have to get to a point in our life, nothing changes in our life until it changes. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Well, again, the divine is not going to violate our free will. So if we want to stay stuck in our life doing the same thing, but it's like, well, how come my life sucks? How come nothing ever changes? How come I can't get what I want? How come I can't get more money? Or how come I'm not finding new love or whatever? It's like, because a new decision has to be made. If you keep making the same types of decisions, then you're going to keep getting the same type of results. So I talked about those two things in the last newsletter. Okay. So those were the first two items on the checklist. So the two items that we're going to talk about in this episode, in this newsletter, so I have essentially love is what I have over here. I'm going to just go back and show this to you really quick. So on the table over here, you can see my camera is being a little bit delayed, and I don't know why that is. It bothers me. I'm going to have to figure that out. It shouldn't be delaying, but there's a little bit of delay, a little bit of lag. But we have love, and we have soul contracts. So, as you can see, the divine wants to talk about love, soul contracts, but then we have the devil card here as well in building. So, obviously, the divine wants to have a conversation about toxic relationships, trauma bonds, and addictions, obsessions, codependency, all the things that are tied to that, and basically learning how to build a healthy future with somebody who's actually good for you, right? And understanding the differences between healthy contracts, healthy relationships versus unhealthy ones, right? So that's one of the things here. The other thing, I kind of had a brain fart. The other thing, okay, yeah, remember it. The other two components that are going to be necessary this year. Again, each one of these things that I'm talking about are tools, right? Tools that we want to develop. It's like I mentioned, decision making and the ability to transform painful and difficult things into our life into empowering things. That's alchemy. So today I want to talk about persistence and courage. They sound very similar, but they're actually quite different. So persistence is a form of resilience, right? Persistence means not giving up on something no matter what, basically. You're persistent. But to have a level of persistence where you never give up on it requires resilience. Resilience is your ability to go through things and last, right? For you to be able to weather the storm. It's like not get beat down, not get convinced, not get influenced, not get talked out of it, or whatever. It's kind of like today. I didn't get much sleep last night. I had a huge sciatic nerve flare up. It happens. I mean, it doesn't happen very much, thank God, but it does happen. And so, for whatever reason, it happened last night. And, I mean, when I was 16 years old, I was hit by a drunk driver and I was crushed in a car. And so, I mean, considering the damage that was done to my body when I was 16 years old, I have no complaints. Like, like in terms of my health, my body, I mean, I could be way, 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 way worse off considering the damage that was done. I mean, I'm virtually, you know, I'm virtually without any issues, with the exception of this issue. Every once in a while, for some reason, my sciatic nerve flares up really, really bad. I'm talking about if just the tiniest little move of any part of your body, just it for some reason, because all your muscles, all of that stuff is connected in ways that you just have no idea until you have a sciatic nerve. And you get a sciatic nerve, a really bad one, you find out just how quick all the muscles in your body. It's like, who knew that turning my shoulder was somehow going to affect my nerve way down here, like in my butt, but it's so painful. It's so gripping. It feels like someone shot you in the ass with a gun. Like it's involuntarily paralyzes you. Like your whole body just seizes in pain. Like I can't, I have no control over it. And so, it took me basically 15 minutes to walk 4 feet from my bed to my bathroom. That's how, because each little movement that I was making was basically of this gripping pain. And so I'm like, all right, this is what this is a metaphor of life. We take the days for granted when you can get right out of bed, you can move freely, and everything's working, everything's going, you're pain free. You can run, you can walk, you can lay down, you can get nice sleep at night. Like, we take that stuff for granted until all of a sudden you wake up and you can't. Well, last night I felt the pain coming on, but I was like, it's fine. I, you know, whatever. If I lose some sleep, I'll lose some sleep. But then all today, it was a battle, and I have not had to work through uh, pain like this in a long time, at least 5 or 6 years. That's how long ago the last super super intense uh, sciatic flare up that I've had. And it's like, okay, well, I have no choice. I have there's things I have to do, and so I had to suck it up, and I had to do things that I did not want to do today. I had to spend my time focusing on a problem that I did not want to be focused on. It's like, I don't have time for this, of course. And that's what you think. It's like, I don't have time to be sick. I don't have time to be hurting. So my point is persistence and resilience. It's like, okay, here's the cards that I'm being dealt, but there's things that I have to do. And so I have to focus on the problem. I have to deal with this problem. I have to get mobile. I had to work today. I can't, I can't, I had to do what I had to do today. There's other things I had to do besides. And so I have to look at the challenge and figure out, okay, I'm a solution oriented person. How are you going to tackle this problem? Well, what kind of stuff can I do? So I'm like binge watching YouTube videos on things that I should have already known, but that's my lesson, right? When things are good and I don't have the nerve problem, I take it for granted. So I don't do stretches like I should. Technically, I should be stretching probably every day, and I don't. Lesson learned. I'll be fucking stretching from now on. I'll be stretching my ass off, literally and metaphorically. So I'm binge watching all these YouTube videos on stretching, which is the last fucking thing that I want to do. Uh, but I have to do it to give me some form of relief so I can function. Because if you lose your health, you've lost everything. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care if you have the woman or the man of your dreams. I don't care if you have the house of your dreams. When you lose your health, everything else goes. Because when you can't move or you're sick as a dog, you can't get out of bed. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what belongings you have or who's there, who's not there. When your health is compromised, you are compromised. And so I had to focus on me. It's like, look, dude, we're gonna have to, and it sucked because my body did not want to do those stretches, and it hurt like literal hell. And it's like, sometimes that's what we have to do in life. Sometimes we have to do the things that suck to get through the suck, right? It's like sometimes we have to embrace the suck to get through the suck so it doesn't suck anymore. It's like it sounds, I don't know, whatever, interesting play on words, but that's what it is, right? It's ironic, oxymoron, or whatever they call it. But that's how life is. You got to do the thing that sucks to get through the suck so it doesn't suck anymore. And sometimes it means, hey, it's like I can either do what's painful now or I can delay the pain and it's just going to hurt worse and worse and more and more. And then I'm going to have to go through the same amount of pain, but probably a lot more later. So to me, it just makes more sense. It's like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and subject myself to the pain of doing the thing to bring me relief. So, fuck it. Let's do the painful thing so that I can get the relief sooner versus delaying it and then being in pain and pain and pain. And so I just had to stay with it, persistent all day long until now. I'm finally feeling almost back to almost good. Like it's still, there's still a little bit of a, it's still there, but considering where it was this morning on a scale of like, 0 to 100, this morning it was like 100 plus 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 plus. I mean, it was like off the scale of pain. Well, now, I don't know. It might be like 10% or something, 5%, depending on how I move. It's still there, just a teeny tiny little bit, but compared to what it was this morning. But again, that's by persistence all day long. And so I'm using this. I know I kind of, maybe my story was a little bit too long. I could have probably made the point like 5 minutes ago. But the purpose of this is that there's things that if you're on this spiritual journey and you're going to take your life serious, anything that you really want, if it's more money, if it's better health, if it's the love of your life, whatever the thing is that you're wanting, as long as it's in your highest good, it's going to require some degree of persistence. Because even once you get the thing, getting the thing doesn't mean you're always going to keep the thing. There's no absolutes, there's no guarantees. Just because you find the man or the woman of your dreams doesn't mean like, yay, I got him. That's it. I don't have to do anything else. It's like, well, no, getting somebody, finding your soulmate, for example, is one thing. Keeping your soulmate is a whole different something. And both require very different sets of skills. The skills that are required for you to attract somebody, to date somebody, to court somebody, all that stuff, that's one set of skills. Once you're in a relationship and you're committed and you have to go the distance with that person, if that's what you're wanting to do, that's a whole different set of skills. So, that's why we need to understand these spiritual skills, the skills of life. And persistence and resilience is one of them. So if there's something that you're wanting and you don't have it yet, then you need to develop persistence and resilience, meaning, hey, just know, just like me, I'm not going to let this happen to me. I mean, my potentially my sciatic nerve, will flare up the rest of my life potentially. But what I learned as a result of this morning is I've got to start stretching, hands down, no matter what. Like I'm not in my 30s anymore, much less my 20s. I'm going to be 44 this year, so I'm definitely like reaching. I'm middle aged, I guess, whatever. So it's like, dude, you're gonna have to start taking this shit serious, man. You're going to do the thing that you don't want to do. You're going to have to stretch, once a day at minimum, if not, twice a day. You're going to do some stretches that you don't want to do, even when you feel like you don't need to do them, because you know that every day that you take it for granted and you didn't do those stretches, one day you're going to wake up and that nerve is going to, and who knows? Who knows where you're going to be, what you're going to need to do, who's going to need you. Because the truth is, if, like, let's say, God forbid, the house that I'm in was on fire, My nerve hurts so bad that I don't know if I would be able to get out of the house if my house was on fire. Like my body just would not, it just doesn't function. It's not something you can force yourself. You can't force your nervous system to respond under nerve damage or nerve pain. Like it literally, your body just seizes up. It's involuntary. It's like if the house was on fire, I'd be screwed. I'd be trying to get out, and I would just, every little motion that my body makes is causing that nerve to get triggered. So like I'd just be getting, my whole body would just be getting hit with this, debilitating, paralyzing, you know, nerve pain. And so I wouldn't be able to run out of the house. So my point is, I have to keep that in mind. I have to be aware of the fact that doing the thing that I don't want to do and persisting at it consistently is going to get me the place that I want to be. And see, a lot of times what we don't understand about life and the things that we want is the long game. We wake up and it's like, well, I don't have the thing. 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 And so because you don't have the thing today and you didn't have it yesterday and you didn't have the day before, and you're not sure if you're going to have it tomorrow, you're like, what's the point of putting any effort into something? Right. And that's the wrong mentality to have. It's like every day that you don't have whatever it is that you want is the day that you need to be preparing for it and ready. Every single day. Every single day is training of some form. You're either preparing for something or you're going to get caught with your pants down. It's just one or the other. And that's just how life is, right? It's like, let's just like money and finances. Everything's good and fine. Like some people, they get so used to living from paycheck to paycheck, and it's like, okay, cool. And then something positive will happen. They'll get ahead a little bit. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to have an extra 300, 500, extra $1,000. And they start thinking about what they could do with an extra $1,000. Big deal, especially when you're used to living from paycheck to paycheck. And just the moment when you thought you were about to get this little freebie, what happens? Your dishwasher goes out, your refrigerator goes out, your car has a problem. There's some type of unexpected medical thing or something, right? You start having a crazy toothache or something. Like, ah, crap, man, my tooth is killing me, or something comes up, and then all that money, that extra whatever it is that you thought you had was just evaporated, right? And so you never know. You never know. And so that's why it's so important every day to be preparing for the things that you don't know when they're coming. And that's why, financially, people are like, well, I need to, I know that something eventually is going to break at some point. Nothing lasts forever. That's why people who are financially responsible, they understand. It's like, better have something saved up somewhere, or at least have access to resources somewhere, even if it was a credit card. But most people, they have those things all the way maxed out. So even if you just had a credit card as a backup plan, just kind of like, hey, I don't use credit cards, but I'm going to have it as a backup plan in case, a major expense that I can't pay for in cash or upfront, I can at least put it on a credit card. It's for an emergency, right? And if you don't have that, you're going to be screwed. So again, I'm just using something that again most people can relate to. It does an example. So persistence and resilience. We need to develop persistence and resilience. And then the second thing that we need to do is courage. And courage is not the absence of fear; it's doing shit scared. That's it. It's being willing to tolerate some form of discomfort to step out of our comfort zone to go towards things that we really, really want in life. And ignoring the outdated programming, ignoring the, imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough, or I can't do it, or I'm not qualified. I'm not an expert. I'm not a this. I'm not a that. Or ignoring, the what people think of me syndrome. You know, and so we keep ourselves small because we want to be liked. And the people that we want to be liked by aren't even people a lot of times that we like, nor is it really people that we give a shit about their opinion. It's just the idea that people could potentially misunderstand us or not like the choices that we choose. It prevents us from moving forward in our life towards the things that would fulfill us. And that's one of the few things that the most successful people in the world do differently than the other 99% of the people in the world don't do. They just stop giving a fuck, basically, and they just go out and live their own life. And they realize that at some point, people people are going to be people no matter what. The same people that are going to dislike you for the thing that you're afraid to go out and do for yourself, those people already dislike you. Chances are that if you go out and do the thing and you hear about them, you know, talking shit about you because you went out to do the thing that was going to fulfill you, they were already talking shit about you, right? That's how it is. It's just our perception of thinking like, oh no, you know, these people, they like me now because I'm living the acceptable life. Yeah, I'm living in the matrix like the rest of them. It's like, no, they don't like you now either. And they're talking, if someone's going to talk about you later, they're talking about you now. That's it. That's how it works. Some people smile to your face and they talk shit behind your back. That's how it works. Some people, you know, some people, everybody has a Judas, right? Jesus had a Judas. I had a Judas, best friend of 17 years. He's the guy that cheated, betrayed me, and then cheated with my ex-wife, and then he left. They ran away together. Literally my Judas. And this is somebody who face to face, like, like love you like a brother. Someone who can look you in the eye, you know, or like in Jesus's case, kiss you on the cheek, which, a gesture in that culture, a semblance of like, brotherhood. It's like the people that already have a problem with you now. Let me say that backwards. I'm thinking of it backwards. The people who are going to have a problem with you later when you're doing the thing that you're afraid to do, they already have a problem with you now. It's just the illusion. And sometimes we get so used to the people that we surround ourselves with, and we identify with that. We identify with culture and this, and being in the group, you know, and all of that kind of crap, and caring too much about that to leave the group to go do the thing that would actually be fulfilling and beneficial for you, to give you fulfillment, to uh, propel you towards the things that you desire in life, your dreams, your wishes, your goals, your passions, right? The things that would actually give your existence meaning, because we're not promised tomorrow. Uncertainty is an illusion. Change is there's few absolutes in the world, and change is one of the only ones, right? Or whatever that is, whatever that saying is. So it's going to take persistence. It's going to take courage in March, okay, to bring all this in here. And I apologize for my ramblings. Again, lots of no sleep last night, and a very, very painful day of sciatic problems. But when I get a message, I'll lose it. So I'm on here doing something, basically practicing what I'm preaching. I'm doing something when I don't feel that I'm anywhere near at my best. I'm being persistent, but I'm also answering the call. When the divine sends me information, it's like, okay, it's time to show up. It's time to answer the call. It's not about me. It's not about my performance. It's not about what I look like, what I feel like, whether I feel like doing it, whether I don't feel like doing it. I made a commitment to the divine as a messenger. And my purpose in life is I'm going to answer the fucking call. And when the call comes, I answer the call. And it doesn't matter, and I'm tested. Today was a test, and the divine put it on. It's like, hey, you've had this long, exhausting day, and do you want you know, I have information. I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. Let's do it. And so I came on here to deliver that information. So coming March, let me bring this full circle, and then I'm going to go over here and talk about the other part, the part with the cards, because that's the important part, right? March, we need to remember everything that the divine is teaching us as we go through the year. So each one of these newsletters, again, it's like the divine is giving us bullet points of things for us to learn. So February's, again, was spiritual alchemy, transforming the painful things in our life into our superpower, about making empowering decisions, that nothing changes until we make a powerful decision to change something. And making a decision means actually making a decision, like not going back on your decision. If you make a decision and then you change your mind 5 minutes later, you didn't make the decision. If you make a decision, you make the decision, you move forward, and that's it. You never look back. So that was February. Well, here we are in March. March is persistence and courage. You have to persist. You have to keep going no matter what happens. You have a shitty day, a sucky day, life throws this at you, life throws that at you, doesn't matter. You got to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And it takes courage. It takes courage to go after the things in life that are part of your spiritual destiny. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And everyone doesn't do it. Everybody, for the most part, stays in their comfort zone, stays in the matrix where it's safe, it's comfortable, it's known, it's acceptable. And everybody just plays a part of the system. It takes courage for you to go after your dreams, your fulfillment, your hopes, your wishes, your desires, all those things. It takes courage to not do it perfectly. It takes courage to trial and error your way through life. It takes courage to maybe fail a few times or to figure things out. It took me a few times of figuring things out to get to where I am right now. I didn't get it on the first try. I spent the last 5 years of my life confused. Well, actually, the last 4 years of my life confused as hell. From 2020 until 2024. 2024, it all came together. 43 years of life finally clicked. I'm like, okay, I got it now. I know I'm here. I know what my purpose and mission in life is. So 2025, is my year of fleshing it out. So here I am at the very beginning, 43 years old, and I'm just now at 43 years old, starting my journey. The thing that I came here to do, my mission, the thing that I incarnated to do in life, I finally know what it is, and I finally have a chance to start living it. And I'm just at the beginning. So it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you're starting. It doesn't matter when this, your kind of your spiritual awakening is, or the moment that you're unplugged from the matrix, so to speak. All that matters is, okay, now that you have the awareness, be courageous. Like, now that you're unplugged, just start moving forward, and the divine will honor your steps. The divine will guide you, will make sure that what you need, who you need, the resources, whatever it is that you need, the divine will make sure that what you need comes and finds you. And as you gain more clarity, then you'll get it. You're like, okay, I know what I need to do. And then once you know what you need to do, then you'll know what resources that you need. It's like, oh, well, I'm going to need these skills. I'm going to need to run those people. I'm there to serve these people. I'm going to need this. I'm going to need that. I'm probably going to be, whatever. I need to become this. I need to become that. I might need to level this up. I need to work on that. I need to change this. You'll just, it's all there. You'll start to know what you need to do, what you need to change, what resources you need, what people you need to be with, who needs to be left behind. All that shit will, it's you just figure it out. The divine helps you figure it out. It's like it just, like, all the puzzles just, they come together. It's really a spiritual, if not borderline magical thing. And I know that sounds very woo woo, but there's a kind of a woo woo element to it. If I'm being completely honest with you. And so, and as you step out, encouraged to do the thing, that's when the real fun begins. And you're like, oh my God, why didn't I do this sooner? And that's the most interesting thing that you'll hear from anybody who ever tells a story. Anybody who's ever been, anybody that you'll ever listen to, who ever talked about the fear of going after something in life, the fear of, I wanted to do this thing. And so I went and and I did it eventually. It's the hero's journey, right? Where we all have to, you know, we're faced with the call. We have a chance to answer the call or reject the call. And many people reject the call or resist the call at the beginning. They know they're being called, their purpose and mission in life is calling to them. And it's like, oh, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. Until finally the courage inside of you overcomes the fear and the uncertainty and the doubt, and you just go for it. And every person who does that always says the same thing. I wish I would have done it sooner. I wish I would have just done it sooner. Because once you get on the journey, you start to realize, like, man, life is so much different. And there's a fulfillment and a satisfaction inside of you that nothing else can ever give you. And it's something that that only you could have given to yourself. It's a gift to you in a sense that there's nothing else, no one else could give it to you, no other thing outside of you could give you that feeling or that sense of satisfaction. But there's also a sense of you being proud of yourself and like, man, like, wow, I bet on me. I did something that even I didn't know that I could do. And I just, something inside of me rose up and answered the call and I went for it. And then as you start to have the experiences that follow answering the call and you experience the fulfillment of doing so, it transforms your life and you're like, holy shit, man. Like now I get it. This is what the spiritual life is all about. It can become semi miraculous, semi magical. And this doesn't mean without challenges or obstacles or trials. All that stuff's part of the story. It just means that when you compare it to the life that you're living before, it's like, okay, life before the matrix, life after the matrix. A life of being afraid to step outside of my comfort zone and just watching life pass me by, wondering if there was more versus I did it. I had courage. I stepped out of my comfort zone. I fucking went for it. And it was the difference of everything, right? So hopefully that makes sense. Now, I don't know what's going on with this camera up here. Yeah, see, it's still uber crazy delayed here. I don't know why that is. I'm not going to try to, I'm not going to try to troubleshoot it. Uh, I'm not going to be pulling any more cards than this. So it's technically, it doesn't matter that, that there's a little bit of delay. Right now it's about a 2 second delay from the movement of my hand to actually showing up on screen. So and it's actually a very, very nice camera too. So I'll have to troubleshoot that. I don't know much about cameras. Anyways, so this is what the divine wanted to the other part of what the divine wanted to talk about. Okay. I grabbed the deck. I said, hey, what do you want to talk? What else do you want to talk to the collective about? And this is what came out in this exact order. Okay. So the love card came out, the shadow self card came out, and the uh, the building card came out. And then we have soul contracts at the bottom of the deck. So obviously relationships is is a huge part of relationships is going to be a very very big part of what what's coming up for us all in March. Now I do know that I think we are going through Venus retrograde right now, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? Let me see. Should I thought my app was going to tell me this like, right off the bat, but maybe I just need to use the old Google's. I'm almost 100% certain. Yeah. Venus retrograde 2025. So it's coming up in March. So we may not quite be there yet, according to this. So it makes sense. Oh, no, it is. It is. I'm sorry. Venus retrograde will begin on March 1st. Since Venus will station retrograde in Aries on the 1st. So, and this only happens like once every 18 months or something. So this is it's like a rare thing. Venus retrograde will conjunct the Moon in Aries and sextile Jupiter in Gemini. Blah blah blah. And we also have a Mercury retrograde coming up as well. So Mercury in Aries will align with Venus retrograde in Aries on March 11th. So yeah. So basically, we just had the tonight. So that's I'm filming this on February 28th. We have the uh, all seven planetary alignment tonight. And then tomorrow on March 1st, Venus goes Venus starts retrograde. And then on March 11th, apparently Venus will obviously it will still be retrograde, but then we start Mercury retrograde. So March is like, you know, it's just hitting on all cylinders basically. So it's not I'm not surprised that this is coming out. That's what I'm saying. So, for those of you that keep the astrology stuff in mind, which I think is a good idea. I think it's a good idea to keep all that in mind as well. I don't uh I don't keep up with it on my channel as much as maybe other readers do. But so so we have love and relationships, we have the devil energy. Basically that's what the shadow self card is here, essentially here. This card is essentially the same card as the devil in tarot. And then we have building here. And then we have soul contracts at the bottom of the deck. I'm just curious what's underneath that. And then favorite. Okay. Yeah, cool. I didn't look until just now. So there's two things that are going to come up here. Now, the first thing that the divine wants us to again keep in mind, going staying in alignment to this whatever it's a video. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm my brain is really fried. I'm so exhausted. Like I got zero sleep because of the pain last night, and then all day it was just like it took everything, just all the focus that I had to to just basically do stretches after stretches after stretches just to be able to function. Like literally just to walk a few feet. Where you're seeing me sit, my bathroom is probably 10 feet from here. So it's a very small room. And there's an attached bathroom to it. So a 10-foot walk from where I'm sitting to the bathroom, in my bed's even closer to the bathroom than that. So from my bed to the bathroom might be 4 feet, 5 feet. And that took 15 minutes this morning to literally get my legs to swing off my bed to be able to stand up and to hobble into the bathroom just to pee. That was 15 minutes. Just getting there. It was probably another 10 minutes to get back out of the bathroom. So, and that was the beginning of the day. So then it was like, all right, now we have to, you know, troubleshoot sciatic nerve because I basically am essentially next to paralyzed. Like the pain is that bad. So, anyways, I'm not saying that I'm not trying to elicit sympathy or anything like that. It's part of it. But my point is I'm just my brain's a little melted right now. But I came here. It's not about me. I come out here to serve you guys and to give these messages because if I wouldn't have gotten out, if I wouldn't have come on and recorded this message, I would have forgot it all. That's the unfortunate thing. And if I wrote it down, I still wouldn't get it in real time because I've made that mistake before. It's like, oh, I'll remember tomorrow, so I'll make a note or I'll make a few notes, and then I'll sit down and I'm like, I mean, yeah, I made notes. I mean, okay, I know that I wanted to talk about that, but it's like the channeled messages aren't there. So it's one of those tricky things when the messages are there and it's almost like creativity. People talk about songwriting or writing a book or painting. Like if you're an artist, you understand this concept. Like when the moment is there and the inspiration, the creativity is there, and the flow is there, and all the stars are aligned, and you can get in and you can just start doing the thing. It's amazing, right? And when it's not there, you can't force it. And so it's sort of like that. So it's kind of, but it's like so my body is all like you know short circuited right now, but the spiritual component is like super energetic, super green light. So I've got all this spiritual energy flowing through me right now. It's just my body is kind of betraying me, like by being tired and exhausted and all the things. So, anyways, if I if I sound like you know I'm rambling, it's because my mind's a little bit melted, but it's fine. We'll get through this. So there's two energies with this starting out here that we need to talk about in terms of love and relationships. All right, now the most important one is the global energy, which is the universal year 9 that I was talking about at the beginning of this video. So it's time for us all to recognize what relationship patterns we have. And the types of patterns that we have determine the types of people that we continue to attract. And if we're not learning a lesson because we're not consciously aware of our patterns, then we're going to keep repeating the same pattern. We're going to go around the mountain and we're either going to stay attached to the same type, either the same toxic person that we need to let go of, or we're going to attract somebody else who's toxic. And then we're going to have to go through that terrible experience all over again, just with a new person. And so, because we're in this 9 universal year energy, we're being called and asked to, again, look back over the last 9 years of our life and account for all of our relationship stuff. And so it's like, okay, well, if you had to you had to sit down, and for some of you, maybe you need to. Some of you may need to sit down and actually think about it. 9 years is a long time. A lot can happen in 9 years. I mean, it's like a decade almost, essentially 1 year shy of a whole decade. The difference between your teens or 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s, right? Hmm. Um, so what have your relationships been like in the last 9 years? What types of people were you dating? Or if you've been in, been in a relationship with the same person, what's the quality of the relationship been like with that person? And so the divine is wanting us to look back over the the last 9 years and decipher, like, okay, what needs to change? Or and not or, but and how did we grow? What have we learned? You know, and if it's a situation where it's like maybe you've had a lot of, excuse me, if you've had a lot of issues with toxic people, toxic relationships, getting out of toxic relationships, or just, you know, whatever the pattern is that you've had in the last 9 years, it's time to address it. It's time to become aware of it. It's time to actually look at it and not, just be caught up in it anymore. Separate yourself from it and look at it and go, okay, what are my patterns? Because we can only control ourselves. We need to know what our patterns are. We need to know what's ours to do and what's not ours to do, right? We can only control ourselves. And so in this case with the 9 year energy, that's what the divine is asking us to do. The divine wants us to look back over the last 9 years and basically kind of do like a self audit to evaluate ourselves and try to look and see, like, well, what have I learned? What needs to change? What needs to go, and all these other things, and make those adjustments. Especially going into as we go into to March. Now, that's on kind of the bigger global scale. Now, on a more individualistic scale, meaning specifically for March, March is asking us specifically, and there's lots of things that are going to go on here. So, for some of you guys, you're going to have past people coming back. For others of you, you're gonna you're gonna meet somebody new, and then a whole other category of you guys that are already in relationships, you're gonna have, um, excuse me, you're gonna have you're gonna have to confront what's been working or not been working in your relationship. So there's gonna be some intensity there, opportunities for intensity, uh, potentially good and bad. But that's just going to depend on where you are in your relationship. So if you've been doing the work and you have a healthy relationship with your partner, then March could be like a springboard month. Like you might be, it's like falling in love all over again. Like, let's say if you've been with somebody for 20 years and your relationship is in a good place, then it could feel like, you know, March could feel like when you met your person 20 years, like for the first time, 20 years in the past. It might have that exuberance, that life of being young and excited, like the first time you met, and it's almost like having a second infatuation phase or something like that. Okay. So, but in a, if you've been in a long-term relationship and it hasn't been going very, very well for you, then the intensity is going to potentially affect you on the negative side. You know, this could be the culmination. This could be like a do or die. You might reach a level of intensity with your partner that could basically be like, all right, that's it. You know, we've been together 20 years and the energy in March is basically like a do or die. It's going to get intense enough to where it's like, all right, we can't do this anymore. And it's going to force your hand. And so, the relationship will probably end essentially. And again, that's the theme that I've been talking about in the universal year 9 energy. It's like we just don't have a choice. All of us, we're all under this energy of like kind of like, you know, being inspired to be on the path of good, doing the right things, or if we're just, we're unconscious and we're just, drifting through life, and we're just taking what is and all this stuff. And it's like this year is going to be very, very, very difficult because essentially we're not living our truth. We're not living according to our truth, and we're being called out on it. So in a lot of cases, you could think of the nine this year as like the judgment card in tarot. Let me grab my my deck here and find the judgment card out of this deck. It's not the greatest. It's probably not the greatest example because the artwork in this deck is a little bit different, but it's close enough. Yeah, it's close enough. I mean, it does kind of go with the theme of love, though. The artwork does, at least. So here's the judgment card. I'm sorry, my camera is. So you can see, you know, there are these two hands at the top, and one is grabbing the other. The one looks like it's reaching up, uh, almost like somebody who's drowning, like underneath water or something. This hand over here can hold it and show you like this hand on this side, right up here on this side, the far side. It like that hand looks like it's wanting to reach up, like it's drowning, like it's like somebody who's not going to make it. And then obviously the hand coming out of the sky is grabbing that person, like, no, I'm going to pull you up. And then at the bottom of the card, you can see you've got the person who's, you know, he's being called up into the clouds, basically, essentially. So judgment is we're being called. It's not. It's like you know. I don't know. That's not a good example. Not every. I was trying to think of like an example I could use. I was going to use one from my past, but not everybody's going to relate to that. I come from a religious background, so I was always taught, you know, that certain things in the Bible mean certain things that they don't. But that there's like this when you die, everybody's going to go before God, and God's got this book, and that of all the things you've done, that kind of stuff. I want to use another word, but in a sense, there is kind of it's kind of like that, in but with ourselves, like the divine is wanting us. We're being called to use our judgment. We're being called to account for everything that we've learned relationally. That's what this energy is. And if you haven't learned that, and you're not aware of it, and you're not doing something different with it, then as we go into March, this energy is going to kick your ass. That's what I'm trying to say. I know I sound like a broken record, but hey, I'm just here to be the messenger. So, which makes sense because the next card is this. This is why we need to become aware of the past. This is why we need to be aware of our past decisions. This card is why we need to be aware of judgment, because it's all about the toxic patterns, the toxic people, the things that aren't serving us anymore, anything that is no longer a part of our evolution, our growth. It's not there. It's not empowering us. If it's not empowering us, then it just needs to go. Because where the divine wants to take us in our relationship is this. And there's a reason that these buildings are they're silhouettes, right? They're not actual buildings. They're just outlines. They're silhouettes of buildings that could be. It's a potential city that we're looking at. We're not looking at an actual city. It's just the potential, like a ghost city or a silhouette city. It's a possibility. And so one of the things, again, globally, that the divine wants us to know about in terms of our relationships with the devil energy, the shadow self energy, is again us understanding why, or what did we learn in our all of our relationships in the last 9 years, and especially the toxic ones. And if you haven't learned from your toxic relationships, where and there's a range of that, right? We could put that on a spectrum. Like, I use the word toxic just as a generality here, but on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is like the most toxic, extreme level of toxicity, and one is just like not very toxic at all. Where do you rate certain people? Well, only you will know which people are gonna be ranked at certain levels. But the bottom line is, you need to know who those people are. You need to know who all those toxic people are, and you need to know what level of toxicity, or what level of toxic influence they're having on your life. And maybe you, what level of toxicity, what toxicity within you have you had in other people's life? And that's probably the hardest part, because everybody thinks they're a saint. Everybody thinks that, you know, they're the victim. Everyone thinks that somebody else is hurting them. We don't want to have to be the ones to actually take responsibility and accountability for the fact that, hey, we hurt people too. We're toxic mother effers sometimes too. You know, it's not always other people. Sometimes we're the toxic people. And again, doesn't mean on a scale of 1 to 10. Maybe your toxic isn't a 10 top. Well, I hope it's not a toxic level 10. But, maybe in the last 9 years, you're like, hey, in that relationship or with that person or in that situation, yeah, I can see where, maybe I was a 5, maybe I was a 6, maybe I was a 3, you know, but you need to have that awareness. And once you have the awareness of it, you have to take responsibility for it. That's what the judgment card is saying. Judgment is here saying, it's not just here for us to have to acknowledge something, to know about something, to review it. It's here for us to take responsibility for it. It's like, no, the divine's saying, hey, I want you to do something with this. Do something about it. Change yourself. Change yourself so your life changes and these patterns change. Because there's something ahead for all of us with this building here. The thing that you're wanting, the love that you're wanting, is possible, and March is the doorway. The energy of March for every single one of you. I don't care if you're single. I don't care if you're divorced. I don't care if you're with somebody. If you're partnered up, coupled up, doesn't matter. March is the doorway moving into the next level of anything regarding love. It's the doorway, entry point. And so, whatever you enter March with in regards to love and romance, whatever energy you're bringing with you is essentially the energy that's going to be magnified, that you're going to have to live with and you're going to have to deal with. It's going to be forced upon you during March. So if you're, if you haven't dealt with your toxicity or somebody else's toxicity, if you're, if there's somebody in your life that that you've needed to cut free or cut loose, but you haven't, you've been holding on to them, all that stuff, the divine is going to force you under the energy of March. You're going to be forced to do something, or a decision will be forced upon you. So that's what judgment is saying, essentially, because judgment is a major. This is the second to last major arcana out of this out of the seven. I'm sorry, out of the 22, out of the 22 major arcanas. This is the second to last one, and the reason is because before you can step through the world card, which is you did it, you completed the whole cycle, you stepped through the portal, you completed that whole cycle of life. You learned all the lessons, you conquered all the enemies, you conquered all the bosses, you did all the things. Boom, you stepped through world, it's done. You completed the level. The last step is judgment. It's a major, major, major decision, right? A judgment call. And so here, the judgment call in love going into March is going to either be you're going to make the decision or the divine's going to make the decision for you. It's up to you. It's up to all of us. So again, it doesn't matter if you're single, doesn't matter if you're married, doesn't matter if you're broken up, whatever your relationship status is, it doesn't fucking matter. Every single person is going to have to confront the energy that they embody in regards to this. Whatever your energy is in regards to love and romance, whether you're single or not, whether you're married or not, whether you're dating or not, married or not, doesn't matter. You're going to have to make a decision. Whatever that energy is, it's going to be magnified in March. You're going to know. So the divine's going to shine a light on it. So if you're unaware of what it is now, don't worry. You're going to know because the divine's going to call it out. Divine's going to shine a light on it and go, oh my God. So at some point during March, everybody's basically going to have a moment where they realize either where they stand in regards to love and romance, essentially. And then you're going to have one or two decisions that you're going to have to make. You're either going to take responsibility, you're going to make that decision, you're going to take ownership of it, or you're not, and the divine's going to come in and the divine's going to make the decision for you, whatever that is. Again, I'm just the messenger here, guys, by the way. So for some of you, I don't know what that is, but for some of you, I could probably predict what it's going to be. For some of you that are still, holding on to toxic people, you're not letting go of past people, or maybe you're the person that's toxic in the relationship, or maybe you're going around playing people. Well, again, if you don't change, you're taking responsibility for that, or maybe you're in a marriage that you just been coexisting with this person because you've been too scared to either change it, but you've also been too scared to get out of it. So you're just living, just roommates under the same roof kind of thing. Well, the divine's like, no, don't worry about it. I'll make the decision for you. So it's going to be one or the other. The divine's going to give everybody one last chance to take ownership of what they need to take ownership of in regards to love. And those that take ownership, then the divine is going to support you in moving towards this. Leveling up, building, getting ready, prepared for this soul contract. The person that's meant for you, the love that's meant for you. Now, those of you that don't take responsibility, then the divine is going to deal with you about this, the devil, because it means that there's still probably some devil shit in there inside of you, which is why you're not wanting to make the decision. Because usually when the devil's in charge, the devil doesn't give up a battle easily. In fact, the devil never gives up, essentially. But the devil isn't more powerful than the divine. It's just the devil just never gives up. So when it comes to stubborn, no one is more stubborn than the devil. And that's just the parts of when I say the devil, obviously I'm talking about our ego, our fears, our limitations, our traumas, our pain, all the shit that we identify with that keeps us stuck or afraid or unwilling to take responsibility. So in that case, the divine's like, hey, cool, no problem. I got it. And then, so I don't know. Some of you guys will probably get towers in March. There'll be a lot of tower moments. And if it's not you specifically, it'll be other people. I hope I hope everybody that's watching this video, at least on my channel, I hope all of you are on the good side of things. Like, no, I'm going to take responsibility for it in March when I get called, and this is me too, guys. Like I'm part of this, by the way. Like, so at some point this month in March, something is going to, something in regards to love and relationship is going to be highlighted. And I'm going to know when it is. We're all going to know, by the way. You're not going to have to wonder what it is. It's going to be really crystal clear to you. The moment that judgment happens, some point in March, that moment that it occurs for you in March will not be, you'll know that it's happening. And so then you'll have the chance to make to figure out what you're going to do. And so myself included. But I already know my decision. Like, okay, the divine can show me anything and I'm going to take responsibility for it. So I don't have to worry about that shit because that's just one of my values. It's like, okay, show me something. That's how I live my life. Every day I wake up, so the divine, like, show me my shit, you know, show me my blind spot. Show me what I need. Show me what I don't know. What do I need to know about myself? Because I'm a human being. I got all kind of God knows what problems, this, that, and the other. I can't see all my problems. I'm not aware of everything. So, but the divine is aware of all of it. So, I'm completely open to, you know, uh, being coached by the divine, so to speak, constructive criticism and the divine pointing things out to me and saying, hey, this needs to be worked on. That needs to be worked on. Hey, you need to keep an eye on this. And obviously, right now, one of the things that's being highlighted for me is my health. And so I got this, I got hit with this sciatic nerve thing this morning, and then I maybe realized, like, okay, dude, really gonna have to start, like, I'm gonna have to just wherever I was at with my health, I've got to go up a whole nother notch of consistency. And I can feel the resistance in me because it's like I'm not super unhealthy by any means, but it's just like there's certain things that I'm impatient, and I don't like doing things that take time when in my brain I justify and go, I could be doing other things with that time, right? Like sitting on the floor fucking stretching for 30 minutes twice a day. It's like, you know, I'd rather stick my wiener in a meat grinder, but it's like the divine is teaching me. It's like, hey, look, you need to you need to take responsibility for that part of you that's impatient, and you also need to take responsibility for your health. you know and so that's just one example. Now, in terms of love and relationships, I've been working on that for the last 2 years since my last serious relationship, and the divine has been calling me out. I mean i mean I feel like, I don't know, I feel like every month, you know I get 5 new things. And I've been single for 2 years. I haven't been in a relationship. I've been learning more about myself and relationships. I haven't even been in one. So it's going to be very interesting for me to see what else the divine comes up with in March for me. Because again, I'm part of this energy. I'm going to be just as affected as all of you are. So now, okay, I'll beat that with a dead horse, I think. Now, this is interesting. Is I, I did not. My intention when I brought this deck out, by the way, was just to look for the judgment card because I just needed the card for the artwork. But now that I'm actually um, looking at it next to the soul contracts, this is a 3 of Cups. So this is just, it's not coincidence, I guess, but it's just ironic maybe that at the bottom of this deck, there is the 3 of Cups, which is all about celebrations, excitement, uh, you know, and coming together. This is when it's any positive element, depending on the context of a read. This is like excitement because like you can go out and meet somebody essentially. So next to the soul contracts here, this is like very, very essentially the divine just saying, hey, for those of you guys that are taking responsibility and you move into March and through March, taking responsibility, and you're on the positive side of it, then you have something very exciting coming up. Okay. So for some of you guys that have been looking for love, you've been waiting for love, get ready because you have potentially the love of your life. Because this is the soul contract here, and it's the infinity sum. So this isn't going to be a karmic. This isn't going to be a boyfriend or girlfriend. This isn't going to be some other. This is going to potentially be the person that you end up spending your life with. Okay, this is your divine, the person that you're going to spend your life with, and you're going to meet them with the 3 of Cups. That's the excitement, going out, community, having fun. Going out, doing things, and so, but it's also a card of celebration. So for those of you in March, keep that in mind. Some of you guys are going to be meeting the loves of your life in March as a result, or maybe even as a reward, per se, um, for the fact that you were taking responsibility for your life. And so you kind of like you pass, like Monopoly, you pass go and you collect $200. Well, in this case, you passed go, you passed the test, and you collect your soulmate, the love of your life. Because again, underneath the soul contracts covers, we have favor, and this is like the star, and the star energies is the divine granting you your wish, wishing upon a star, right? That's where we get that from. And so you can see in the artwork here on this card, this person is out, you know, standing on this cliff or this mountaintop, and they have the star in their hand and their finger. So that's what that means. And actually, I'm being told to do this. This is super random. I'm being told to read the actual definition of the word favor. It's approval, support, or liking for someone or something. As a verb, feel or show approval or a preference for. Uh, Often used in a polite request or to give someone or to give something that they want. So like, please favor me with an answer is like what they're saying. So yeah, it's when it's like you're being granted something, right? In that regard. So this is really cool though, because again, what the divine wants us to see as a result of this, as I close out this video, is this is going to be a theme throughout the rest of this year. What we're experiencing in March, because remember I said March is technically officially the 2025 energy. So March is officially 2025. So now that we're going into March, we're going to start to see these themes the rest of the year where we might we might receive judgment in other areas of life. And just relationships, you know. We're just going to deal with March for now, but we don't know what April's going to be. What the divine is going to be asking us or requiring of us in April or May or June, all the way through the rest of the year. So it's literally like, it's kind of like when you think of 2025, think about it almost like the Olympics, right? Like there's a schedule, and each whatever sport, whatever thing that you're looking at is happening on a schedule. It's not all happening all at once. They're happening on schedules. That's kind of what's happening this year. So it's almost kind of like we're having to walk through different a schedule of different phases of different tests, different, reviews. It's like having exams at the end of the year. You don't just have one exam. Usually you have multiple exams, however many classes you took. If you had 5 classes, you potentially have 5 exams. Well, in this case, you know, we have at least 10. We'll have at least 10 exams between now and December, right? So just keep that in mind, that this is going to be a theme. I'm not sure how it's going to be similar, but just think of it in terms of lessons and opportunities and rewards or usually there's going to be something that we missed and we're going to have to go back and review it and learn it. And it's going to be hard. In other words, anything that we have not taken responsibility for, that we have not accounted for, it's a lot kind of what's happening in politics right now. They're going through, the government's going through and figuring out where all this wasteful spending was going. It's like, where was all this money going? And now that they're actually looking at it like a business and they're actually doing a legitimate internal audit of what's been being spent, they're finding all this stuff because someone's actually finally looking at it. And that's what's going to be happening for us. It's like, the divine is going to force all of us to audit ourselves. And any part of you, any part of me, all of us, as we move through this year, any part of us that we're not willing to audit and review, the divine is going to do it for us. So it's no one's getting out of this. We're all clumped together. We're all in the same boat. And that's why, like I said, this year for some people, one group of people, this year is going to be one of the best years of your life. For other people, this is going to be one of the worst years of your life. Because as the year goes on and you get another opportunity, are you aware? What did you find? Are you going to take responsibility for it? Yes or no? Or are you going to wait, or is the divine going to have to step in and, force you to be accountable for it, force you to address it, force you to look at it, force you to deal with the consequences of it? It's going to be one or the other. The obvious, the easiest path, the path of least resistance is obviously, and what the divine obviously wants us to do is for us to all expand and grow, because that's the whole purpose of collective consciousness, for us all to grow and to become a better version of ourselves. Because when we all elevate, then humanity elevates. That's the purpose of this. So it's not it's not to be it's not out of shrewdness or maliciousness or any of that. It's just out of consciousness is wanting to evolve and grow and go a certain direction. And so the thing, those of us who are having a hard time keeping up or staying stuck in the past or wanting to live in the past and all this, it's like evolution, the laws of evolution prove it's like you either keep up or you get filtered out. It's one or the other. You get left behind because the bus is going this way. Evolution, expansion, growth. It's just like technology. Whether we like it or not, artificial intelligence is here, and it's just going to get more and more and more and more and more. Whether you like it or not, whether you want it or not, it doesn't matter. It's here. It's moving forward, and it's like you can either be on, you can go with it, you can go with the flow, or you can try to resist it, and you're going to get left out. You're going to get left behind, or worse. That's the harsh reality of it. So, my point in closing, I say, my point in all of this is let's become aware of this as we move through 2025. And again, if you heed the messages of the divine, if you just do what the divine says to do, because that's what the divine is here. The divine is here to give us the cheat sheet, to give us the cheat codes, to say, hey, look, this is all you have to do to make it through this year unblemished, unscathed, and, better, getting a reward, right? Many of us are going to get rewarded. We're going to get our wish. We're going to find whatever that thing is. If it's more money, if it's a job, if it's a career, if it's the love of your life, this will be the year. That's why I keep saying this could potentially be one of the best years of your life, like ever. Where you look back 30 years from now and you go, man, 2025 was the year it all changed. My whole life became amazing. Everything changed in 2025. From that moment going forward, the rest of my life was completely fucking different. Radical difference. That's what the divine wants. The divine doesn't want you just to have a little bit of a difference, like, okay, like a 1% raise, like your job goes, hey, guess what? You did amazing. You busted your ass and you were consistent and you worked and you overachieved and you and you hustled and you never called out sick, not even one day. You covered shifts, you worked overtime, you did, 3 people's jobs, not just your one. You did all this amazing shit. Now this is what we're going to reward you with: a 1% raise, which is basically like after taxes are taken out, it's like there's essentially no raise. It's like they basically just insulted you. Your job just insulted you with a 1% raise. Essentially, at that point, that's not what the divine is doing. The divine is not here to insult you for your effort. The divine is going to bless you abundantly. Abundantly, you're going to get the things. That's how cool this is. That's why you want to not resist. That's why you want to be on the path that you want to be on the good side. And uh, what's even cooler than that, in my opinion, is again the fact that the divine is not. It's not something you're just having to. Oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It's like the divine is telling us. And it's not just me. I'm gonna go find somebody else. Like there's all kinds of people that are channeling messages now. I mean, more than ever. Like years and years ago, there was like one, right? Like I remember it was like when Abraham Hicks was like that was like the big household name. It was like there's an Abraham Hicks out there. It's kind of weird, right? And now all of a sudden it's like there's like channelers everywhere, everywhere. Every time I turn around, there's some person I never heard before channeling some higher intelligence now. And it's not like they have to be a different personality. It doesn't have to be that extreme. It could just, readers look at tarot and astrology, or just spirituality as a whole on YouTube. Man, this stuff in the last 5 years has exploded. The popularity of it. I mean, it's just it's insane, but it's cool because it's showing where we're evolving. This is one of the indicators, the metrics of us seeing where we're growing, where we're evolving, and the fact that the divine is speaking loud and clear and frequently. Because look at all the people that are hearing the divine. Look at all the people that are trying to come out and be and channel messages from the divine. You know, it's like it's pretty badass. So don't take my word for it. I'm just one voice amongst all the voices. But find somebody that you that is reputable, who's speaking the right message, because the divine isn't here to just kiss your ass, cosign powerlessness. Like again, you'll know if it's the divine, if a true divine message, because it doesn't violate the two non-negotiables. It's not violating your free will, but it's also not going to give you something that's not in your highest good. That's how you know. And there's technically a third one in there, in my opinion. I'll say a loose third rule in there is typically you'll know it's a divine message because the divine cares about the whole. If the message is really based around positivity, improvement, growth, empowerment, and universal love, universal acceptance, universal empowerment, um, universal responsibility taking, then that's when it's a legit message. Now, if it's just all about, ego and duality, and it sounds just like, somebody who's, rationalizing like a human would rationalize, then it's not. Because then that's not divine intelligence. That's just a human rationalizing something that they're making up. They're projecting their own shit, their humanity into something, right? Because the divine doesn't judge. The divine isn't a human. The divine doesn't look at things good, bad, right, wrong, black and white. The divine doesn't look at it like that. And so, the people that are legit and they're channeling legitimate messages, they're not their humanness is separated from the messages that come through them. They're not there giving their opinions. They're not there, telling you what to do, who to be, how you have to be, how you have to think, what to agree with, what not to agree with, what views and opinions are acceptable and which ones aren't. The divine allows, again, your free will. It will not violate your free will. You have free will to decide what you're going to do, what to believe, what opinions and experiences you get full control, of your experience of life. That doesn't mean that the divine won't send a message and tell us, hey, this is what's in your highest good. This is what's in the highest good. It's a choice. It's an option, right? It's one of the many options that are on the menu of life. There's many other options on the menu that we can choose from, but not all of them are the one that is in our highest good. And so I'm just here again to be a messenger for that one specific menu item. And there's many other people out there, I'm sure, who hopefully are doing the same thing, and hopefully they hold themselves to a high level, to a high standard in what types of information that they share. Now, obviously, not everybody out here on YouTube is here for the same reasons that I am, but it's okay. So, my point is, the divine is giving us access to the cheat codes, to the cheat sheet. All we have to do is just follow the guidance of the divine and be willing to surrender to what's in our highest good, and we can't go wrong. This year will be fucking amazing for us if we do it. And I'm harping on this last minute at the very end of the reading because, again, I just feel like the sense of urgency to just keep saying this again and again and again for those who really need to hear it. And if you listen to this entire video all the way through, all 1 hour and almost 2 hours worth of this, I commend you for listening to the whole thing, and I commend you for the fact that you're taking this shit serious. And the divine is going to commend you, and the divine is going to bless you because you're taking it serious. You're not me. It's not me. If you're going to impress me, I'm not the one giving out gold stars. Thank God. But the divine, you're taking it serious. The divine's like, hey, all right, cool. You're taking it serious. You want the blessings. You want your life to change. Cool. You take me serious. I'll take you serious. That's kind of how it is with the divine. And so I'm excited for those of you that are definitely here to play full out, take responsibility. You're taking your journey seriously, and it's not about it's not about numbers. It's like the movie 300. The 300, who took on the entire Persian army, the 300 badasses. It's like, I don't care if it's 3 of us, 5 of us, or 10 of us, doesn't matter. Like, but I'm here to stand with those of you who are choosing to move forward. You're choosing what's in your highest good. You're here to listen to the divine, and you want to move forward, and you don't want to miss out on life. And I commend you for that. And I consider myself, your fellow brother in arms in that regard. So hopefully this reading makes sense. Hopefully all this information will make sense. Also, before I forget, now see, those of you that made it to the end, you guys are going to get to hear this. Everybody else that clicked off, they're not going to get to hear this. So I'm going to give away a free reading to somebody. And so if you watch this all the way to the end, in the comments, I want you to leave a comment on this video that just says, I am favored. That's it. I am favored in the comments. Put I am favored in the comments, and that will enter you in for a free reading, personal reading for me. So I will give you a free personal reading, which, knowing me, who knows? That could be 30 minutes, an hour, who knows? But so somebody's going to win a free reading from me. So again, one last time, all you got to do to enter, I'm going to pick randomly. I'm going to let the divine guide me towards somebody. Now, of course, if only 1 or 2 of you, then it's going to be a really easy decision to make. Like one person who watched all the way to the end, they're going to put I am favored, and you're the only person. Well, then you're going to be the only one who gets it. There wasn't much competition. So, but somebody's going to put I am favored in the comments. Now, if multiple people do it, then they're obviously, I will choose somebody in March, and somebody will get a free reading. I'll probably do it like 2 weeks from now, because most people forget a video after they watch it. But 2 weeks from now, most people won't remember this video, but I will. And so I'm going to put a reminder to look in the comments. I'm going to choose somebody. So if you watch this video all the way through, you can enter to win a personal free reading from me, like a full, not some 5-minute bullshit, a full fucking reading, right? Complete reading from start to finish. And I might throw something else in there for free too. Maybe. Who knows? Probably, because I'm very generous. So put I am favored in the comments. That lets me know that you're taking this serious. It's not for the free reading, but you're taking it serious. You're taking your journey serious. And that's why I'm taking you serious. Okay? So if you're taking your spiritual journey serious for the month of March, put I am favored in the comments. I will take you serious and I'll give you a free reading and maybe some other goodies. Okay? So with that being said, I appreciate you guys. Got to end it here. Got to go upload it. And I'll see you on the other side. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. All the other information is in the description box below. And as always, my friends,
I'm not a bloody psychic.